Hello, everybody, and welcome back. My name is Embraced. I know that this is not the place that you would expect to see me, but someone was a bit of a moron, and while trying to create a backup, accidentally deleted the save of our world that we were all working on together. And so, the series that I wanted to do after that, we're actually going to continue in a completely brand new survival world, which will be interesting because I haven't done a completely new survival world since I started the Amber City. And so this will be an experience that we'll be doing together, actually. I still want to follow through with the idea that I had that I was going to do using the Amber City, which was, by the way, I love this. This is like the greatest addition to the game ever. Just adds a little bit of je ne sais quoi that I think that these basic biomes were really missing. Just a little bit of clutter. I think the leaves fall a little too much, but I still love them nonetheless. I think they're so perfect. So perfect. So while we run around and look for a place to set up, let's chat. Let's talk. What are we doing? How are we doing? What's the game plan? I personally think that the game plan is that I would like to kind of make builds weekly. I think that would be really fun. I have always wanted to kind of just encourage myself to grow and become better, kind of adapting new build styles, and and we already start off with the beautiful firefly bushes. You know what? Oh my god. What? There is a single acacia tree. Oh my gosh, this is the smallest Badlands biome I've ever seen. This is amazing. But what I think we're going to do is we're going to jump ahead a little bit. I'm going to find a place for us to stay. If I see anything of interest, I will pop back in and show y'all. And then we will get to designing and deciding on what we're going to do for the first episode together. Shall we? Oh, whoa. Whoa. Oh. Oh, this is the new really tall birch forest. Oh, this is so pretty. Look at that. This is another thing that I thought that the biomes were really shellacking in. I think the birch forest is probably the thing that's needed some color for a long time. And then we also have our new cow variants. Our sheep have variation now too. Oh, this is quite pretty. Oh, hello. I don't know the difference. I presume cold and warm. Or I guess this is like temperate, like general. And then we also have this beautiful, beautiful wildflower litter, which I am absolutely in love with. Okay. All right. I think I'm seeing a vision here. I'm seeing a jungle, a bamboo jungle over here. We're in a swamp currently. And then over here we have a dark forest right next to that. And I think this may be the area that we're going to land ourselves at. Because this is kind of the vibe, the feeling that I was really kind of feeling in my soul. Because as much as I love the Amber City, and it is one of my favorite builds I've ever done, I really know that I am kind of done building in the cold. I did it for so long, and the drab grass has really rubbed my soul the wrong way. I really need to have some greenery in some aspects. And we're right next to a spruce forest as well, so we still get spruce in bulk. So let's go to the water over here and see if we can find an area that's kind of pier-like and can make us kind of an epicenter. Please ignore me slamming multiple raw muttons and raw beefs to get through this journey as we find the place that we're actually going to set up and get comfortable. Oh, and we have mangrove. This is beautiful. So what I think we're going to do is I'm going to go look over there, see if that area is kind of clear enough. And then I think we may... Oh, and there's a jungle temple. Oh, this may be beautiful. It's actually starting to look perfect. So the area that I think that we're actually going to build is going to be somewhere right here. It's going to need a little bit of love to get it to the way that I would like it, but I have had this name kind of ruminating through my head, and I think I just have to execute upon it because it is just sticking with me in a way that I really enjoy. And I think it will serve us well for having a guiding idea of what I have in mind. So specifically, I'm loving these firefly bushes, and I would love to kind of execute upon them in a meaningful way in our first iteration. I think the thing that I keep thinking about is a build called Firefly Landing. And I think that is just such a cute name. I'm not exactly sure what that means or what that is, but we're going to find out together. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to get set up. We're going to establish our chess monster, our base of operations, and we're going to go from there. First little bit of stone to get us moving and shaking in the right direction. You've got to be kidding me. Stone pickaxe, furnace. Oh, we are making breakneck pace at this stage of the game. And I can't remember... No, these aren't used as... What are these? Yes, leaf litter. And I think it's really, really fast, too. Like, it's used... It's kind of similar to leaves itself, if I remember correctly. So we're going to get ourselves some steak. We're going to go into the mines. And then I think we're going to discuss kind of the ideas of what I think are going to make and break this build for me. All right, we got some wood for torches when we find coal. We have some food. And we've already started our mine just over here. And let's get that started. And while we're going through this, I do apologize for the darkness as we initially start this process, but I will try and give you the tilder of what my thoughts are with the new update and kind of how it's going to influence this first build that we're looking at. I personally think that the big winner of all of the blocks that they've added are that we have a lot of small detailed browns and greens. Oh wait. Oh, this may be perfect. If this is a mossy cave. Oh, one of the things that I think the big winner of this update is that we have a lot of brown details that make adding neutrals or even adding two neutrals that are in agreement with each other much easier now because you have so much green and brown in this game in general, but often it becomes kind of flat in my opinion. You lose a lot of tonality and you lose a lot of identity that you really need to be on your game about. And I think that the firefly bushes, the green shrubbery, the dandelions, they all play a really big part in complementing and bringing those identities together. But back to what I was saying. I think the big winners are anybody who wants to kind of have that identity of really detailed plannery. And you can kind of escape the blockiness of Minecraft with these blocks because they are one of the few, hyper detailed blocks that we get. They break the one by one structure that we really enjoy. We can also break this with stairs and such, but as far as green blocks are concerned, we don't really have many ways to do that. Green and brown obviously is the exception, but most of the brown options that you're opting into to break up texture are wood. They really are not as clean of a identity that you would want. As to not overexpose you into a dark cave, I think I'm gonna wait a second and look for something that I saw earlier. There it is. Just a second. See? I wasn't crazy. I knew that there... Ooh! He blends right in. Hello. Oh, goodness. And then there's an even bigger one down there. So this is actually... Oh no, there's even one over here. I completely missed. This is a godsend. We can absolutely use these glow berries to our advantage. This is very perfect. Oh my goodness. You've got to be joking me. This is awesome. Okay. So we are making greater strides. Also, this is just a chunk of clay. I did not realize that it just makes those next to each other. But we're going to drop down into the light so that we can see our conversation a little bit better. This is kind of the idea that I was going for. I talk about the light and then I immediately walk into the darkest part of the cave. This is kind of the idea that I have in mind is I want to create the feeling of like a bog, but as like a kind of like a harbor-esque area. I want it to feel very planty, not very populated. Kind of very much the exact opposite of what we were just building. Oh my goodness, these caves are being very generous to me. But they have not given me any coal yet, so they are not quite our friends. Now that we can actually have a brighter conversation. I think the artistic ideas that I'm having in my mind is that I'd love to use a lot of brown elements to create kind of a harbor. Just like a small little pier into a little depot. I'm using a lot of a lot of accent words here, but I want to create a kind of a harborish depot, a harbor depot that uses browns for the aspects of very people-oriented parts of the build, and then I would love to really enhance the green feeling of it next to each other. Really enhance the feeling of the green in the plants in the area that is not populated by humans. I think that will really go for this really cool man-made feeling while also creating a very cool environment for man-made structures to exist in. You kind of have this like hand-in-hand dichotomy already of accent to structure. So like we're going to use the brown of woods and dirt and clay to kind of give this feeling of this is where the people are. And then we are going to use green accents to show this is the untouched part. This is kind of below the human structure. But there very much are some very underpopulated but very necessary truck stops across America. And they feel very much like that, where it's like, wow, this little piece of land is very developed. And then everything else around it is just raw forest. And that's kind of the goal that we're going for. This is little rinky-dink step up and stop shop. Not too populated, but also seeing more travelers than stayers, I think is a good way of putting it. Travelers than occupants. With that, I think we're going to finish up this mining portion. And then I will get back to you whenever I kind of have the resources in hand and we have a little bit of a design in mind as well. See you in a few seconds. It's simple. It's not meant to be too much. It's meant to truly just be a starter house to really kind of get the juices flowing. And I really, really love this. I think it's utilizing the aspects that the new blocks have come to bring to us in a meaningful way. I wanted to kind of give it a more quirkier shape than I gave it, but I also wanted to keep it a starter house. So I toned back my initial idea. I wanted it to be a lot more multi-structured and have the impression of stories to it without being really actually complicated. So instead, what I opted for was this feeling of a single story kind of shipping house. A place where ships would kind of come in and they'd check in, they would refuel, they'd restock, all of that. And I love the feeling of this build. It feels musty and gross, but also still very green and vibrant. And I am absolutely in love with it. I even got to incorporate the dead leaves to make it feel like this landing doesn't get used too often. And it really grabbed that bog feeling that I really, really enjoy. And I'm quite happy with how this turned out. I've been seeing these roofs that incorporate moss and living stuff on top of it, and I'm not quite comfortable with the idea in integrating it in a useful way, but I wanted to start off by incorporating the green and the overgrown into the roof, and I think it looks super cool, and I really love the way that it turned out. And I think that is going to do it for us today. It's really short, simple, and sweet, but I am so happy to be back and making these and starting off with a strong first impression, in my opinion. All right, that's it for me. I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.